Arisu is a rich but depressed loner whose only source of comfort was a radio show by a girl named Apollo. However, when she suddenly vanishes, he tries to find her by sauce testing all the baddies in the school. It all begins at the Furin school, which has suddenly turned into coeducation. The homeroom teacher tries to impress all the fresh baddies by advising the boys to be nice to the girls. Scoffing at the speech, Arisu stands up from his seat and tells his teacher that he sounded like a total simp and should redo his speech. Confused by his audacity, the teacher asks him to at least introduce himself. Seizing this opportunity, Arisu tells his new classmates that he is the heir to the Yamabuki group, so he is basically their Elon Musk who will take Japan to Mars. With that, he humbly adds that he is 99% perfect, so for him to be 100% perfect, he needs all the girls to say I love you to him.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the?
After his wild introduction, all the boys gang up on Arisu and tell him that his clownery has scared away all the hoes. However, Arisu calmly tells them that being extra is what attracts all the girls. Just then, a bubbly tomboy approaches Arisu and states that she knows the Yamabuki group is completely loaded, so she would like to become his girlfriend. Hearing this, Arisu stands up and tells the girl to say something in his ear, but when she does so, he flatly rejects her by telling her that it's time for him to take a massive dump. While Arisu excuses himself, the boys who have been dealing with his shenanigans reveal to the girls that Arisu is doing this because he has been searching for a girl since his second year. However, since he hasn't seen her face, he tries to find her through her voice. Meanwhile, Arisu goes from class to class, in hopes of finding his dream girl. After failing yet again, he recalls his depressive past, where his only reason to stay alive was a radio show which was hosted by a girl called Apollo. Every night, he would hear Apollo's voice and start picturing a love story more perfect than Naruto and Sasuke's. All of a sudden, a girl sneaks up on him and whispers I love you in his ear, which causes all his blood to rush south. Startled by this, Arisu demands an introduction, but the cheeky girl reminds him that break is over and he still hasn't gone to the washroom. After returning, he joins his peers in the mess hall, where he thinks about the girl who sounded eerily similar to Apollo. However, Arisu tells himself that he can't be sure since the girl caught him at a time when he was desperately trying to hold his poop together. Just then, he hears a girl's voice echoing through the speakers, which tickles Arisus's pickle, causing him to run towards the broadcasting room. On his way, Arisu thinks about Apollo and wonders if she is closer to him than he had thought. As he was her only listener, they chatted regularly and got so close that Apollo would often tell him that she would like to attend an all-girls school. After her sudden disappearance, he had compiled all the evidence from their chats and quickly learned that she was the same age as him. And since she wanted to go to an all-girls school near the ocean, he dug up all the schools in the area and found out that only Furin offered such specs, which is why he decided to attend Furin School for Boys because he wanted to get closer to Apollo. With the broadcasting room in front of him, Arisu takes a deep breath, hoping that he'll find Apollo in the next room and finally become whole. However, as he opens the door, he is greeted by 4 yummy baddies. Composing himself, Arisu tells the girls that he wants to ask them about something. But before he can do that, they start shouting at him for the sudden interruption. He quickly apologizes to them while his eyes linger longer on Rika, the girl he met earlier, as he thinks about how she and the 3 other girls all sound similar to Apollo. Seeing Arisu completely dumbfounded, Shinobu asks him if he wants to go pro. Confused, he asks what she means, further upsetting the hot-headed Nene, who asks him why he is even here if he doesn't know anything. Finally, Iko reveals they are huddled in the broadcasting club because they want to pursue a career through their voices. Just when Arisu wonders if the girls are trying to start something naughty called Only Voices, Shinobu reveals that she wants to be an anchor, Iko announces that she will become a VTuber, Nene states her dream is to become a voice actor, and lastly, Rika claims that her goal is to become a singer. While Arisu realizes he is surrounded by an ambitious crowd of girls, Shinobu jokingly tells the girls that she heard Arisu give a weird speech about wanting a lover. Before he can explain himself, Nene kicks him and tells Arisu that he looks like a creep who flashes his pickle to random girls. Upset by the allegations, Arisu clarifies that he's not Diddy, as all he wants to do is find someone. Hearing this, Iko shows a screen of her character and asks Arisu if he is here to meet her. When he tells her no, Rika steps forward, asking if he wants to date her since he seemed completely smitten by her in the hallway. Now getting annoyed, Arisu tells them that he has no ulterior motives and just wants to find Apollo. Confused, the girls ask him what an Apollo is, which shocks Arisu, who is sure that Apollo is one of the 4 girls. It then dawns on him that Apollo could be trying to hide her identity, which makes him regret asking them about her directly. Thinking he would have plenty of chances to investigate the girl, Arisu turns to leave when the girls tell him to never show his ugly face in the broadcasting club again since outsiders aren't allowed. This suddenly prompts Arisu to recall a conversation with Apollo where she told him that she wants to pursue a career through her voice. At that moment, Arisu tells the girls that if they let him stay in the club, he will provide them with new equipment that'll give them better sound quality. Finding his terms agreeable, the girls agree, and to pay him for his kindness, they collectively tell him that they love him. However, Arisu starts tweaking out like a virgin and quickly rushes out when he recalls saying "I love you" to Apollo in a moment of loneliness. However, since he's no longer a simp, Arisu makes up his mind to find Apollo so he can make sure she won't blackmail him once he takes over the Yamabuki group. The next day, Arisu makes up his mind to observe and collect notes on the group. But when he enters the clubroom, he only finds Shinobu, who reveals that she likes to come early to practice her lines as she's prone to messing up more. Just when he tries to ask her a question, Shinobu shushes him and prepares for the morning broadcast. Observing her intently, Arisu reads the information he had gathered on her. Basically, Shinobu is a perfect student as she is not only the vice president of the student council but is also treated like royalty by the students. Just hearing her voice, Arisu starts to believe she is completely perfect when suddenly Shinobu starts getting tongue-tied, which upsets Arisu so much that he starts scolding her while the mic is still on. Outside, he catches Nene surrounded by girls, asking her if she got the new volume of Lilycos. Nene eagerly states that she did since she's a die-hard fan, which prompts Arisu to recall that Apollo loved the manga as well. Analyzing Nene from afar, Arisu reads the information on her and comes to know that she loves to cosplay and is basically besties with everyone in her class. As she starts voice acting for the heroine in the manga, Arisu finds himself bewitched until she starts messing up her lines by saying the wrong words. Cringing at her state, Arisu wonders if Nene is special needs when she notices him and tells her friends that she got scared because Arisu keeps staring at her. After barely escaping from the angry crowd, Arisu realizes that he is unable to find the real Apollo because he had been hearing her through the phone. Naturally, the phone would distort her real voice, which is why he's having such a hard time. Suddenly, Iko sneaks up on Arisu, causing him to tumble down the stairs. Still reeling from the shock, he recalls the data he had on her. Turns out, Iko is the one who offers tech support to the broadcasting club and has a massive fan base in the otaku community. When he asks what she is doing here, Iko reveals it's time for her daily stream. With that said, she sets up her iPad and holds a 5-second stream, which ticks off Arisu, who asks her to be more dedicated to her fans. However, Iko argues that her simps don't mind, so she's cool with it. Without engaging further, Arisu leaves, realizing that everyone in the club is unserious, unlike Apollo, who was determined to pursue a career through her voice, and because of this determination, he had promised to learn voice support so he could help her in the future. Later that day, Shinobu goes live and performs badly as usual when suddenly Arisu hijacks the mic and announces that he's fed up by the mediocrity of the broadcasting club, therefore he's going to push everyone to do better. Before he can continue, Arisu is pushed out of the club by the girls. Suddenly, he gets a notification on the screen, which knocks his breath out as for the first time in years, Apollo comes live and tells Arisu that she meant it when she said "I love you." The more he hears the stream, the more it becomes clear to Arisu that Apollo is definitely a member of the broadcast club. He wonders why she is trying to hide herself from him, but then becomes absolutely determined to uncover her identity. A couple of days later, the girls find themselves running on the beach at 6 in the morning as Arisu yells at them to train their bodies if they don't want to end up as land whales, yelling about body positivity. As the girls struggle to run, Arisu shows them how it's done by running in reverse. Nene gets pissed and asks him how he's so nonchalant about it, but like always, Arisu toots his own horn by stating that he's simply an alpha male who is keen on making them all pro. However, when Nene still continues to whine, Shinobu tries to calm her down by saying that they have been slacking off a lot these days, and they could all benefit from Arisus's training. Meanwhile, Rika asks Arisu why he's so hellbent on helping them out and if they can really trust him. In response, Arisu confidently states that he is sure that he can help them climb up the mountain of success. Later on, they stop by a restaurant for breakfast where Arisu hands them a schedule book with details highlighting their issues and future training sessions. He also adds that he has included advice on how they can each improve individually. Shinobu is the first one to express her amazement with how thorough Arisu is with his mission to make them pros. Meanwhile, Nene complains about having to do the legwork of learning perfect Japanese. Iko, on the other hand, acknowledges that she needs to upgrade herself enough that she can get accepted by a VTuber agency while Rika is tasked to sing in front of 50 people. This ticks her off as she asks Arisu if he has ever played an instrument in front of a crowd. In return, Arisu tells Rika that he hasn't played an instrument before, which prompts Rika to whine about how nerve-wracking it is to play in front of a crowd. However, Arisu coldly tells her that if she wants to become a singer, she'll have to overcome her anxiety. He also reveals that he has never been nervous in his life, which Rika calls cap on. She then tells Arisu that he can't tell her what to do since he's just all talk, and walks away, leaving him completely confused. Nene seizes this opportunity and tells Arisu that she understands Rika's reaction since she's someone who is talented enough to write her songs but is getting bossed around by a chud who has no experience with songwriting or live singing. Upon hearing this, Arisu tweaks out as he wonders how the girls have the audacity to doubt his skills. Later at school, Arisu reads up on the data he has on the girls and learns that Rika actually holds mini concerts in the schoolyard. Without wasting time, he heads there and finds Rika holding a guitar. As she starts singing, Arisu is suddenly hit by memories of Apollo and how she pierced his heart with her singing. After her first song, Rika spots Arisu in the crowd, which makes her nervous as she admits to herself that she doesn't want him to hear her sing. Once her concert is over, Rika returns to her playful self and asks Arisu if he has fallen in love with her after hearing her sing. This time, Arisu doesn't hesitate to praise Rika, admitting that she was awesome. However, it only upsets Rika further as she tells him that she's still not going to do what he wants her to do. A few weeks later, Rika thinks about Arisu since she hasn't seen him in a while after their last fight. Then, all of a sudden, she hears an angry crowd of girls telling Arisu to get lost as they want Rika to sing. She then learns that Arisu had been learning how to play guitar just to prove to her that he isn't just talk. Impressed by his determination, Rika then joins him on the stage and tells Arisu that she's going to be his backup singer. After the concert, Rika asks Arisu if he felt nervous, but like before, he tells her that he was perfectly fine. Upon hearing this, Rika places her head against his chest and calls Arisu a liar. A few days later, the entire broadcasting club gathers in the clubroom when Nene announces that she's leaving early again. This upsets Arisu, who tells her that she won't be able to pass her Japanese test at this rate, but she ignores him and walks out. Sighing in frustration, Arisu decides to tail her and learns that Nene is practicing alone. However, he gets annoyed by her lack of passion and bluntly tells Nene that she sucks. When his eyes trail down at the manga in her hand, Nene reveals that this is the hottest chick flick at the moment, a romance which features a princess and a knight. Upon hearing this, Arisu asks Nene if she's going to audition for the role of the princess, but she tells him to piss off since it's none of his business. At that moment, Arisu realizes that Nene is embarrassed, so he confesses to her how he still wets his bed, which shocks her. He then tells her that he doesn't mind embarrassing himself, and it'll help her open up to him. Luckily, his tactics work as Nene admits that she wants to audition for the role but can't because she has no experience in romance. In response, he bends down and tells her that from now on they're lovers, she is the princess and he's the knight. Of course, Nene turns him down, stating that she'd rather eat pineapple pizza than date him. Arisu decides to become the bigger person and asks Nene about her audition date. When she reveals that it's in 3 weeks, Arisu gaslights her by asking if she can't put up with their fake relationship for a few weeks to achieve success. In the end, Nene caves, and the next day they make their romance known to the whole school, which shocks everyone. The broadcasting club is also shocked but ignore their failed display of affection, since they look like a couple from a horror movie. On day 20 of their fake relationship, Nene becomes nervous as she knows they must practice the kissing scene between the knight and the princess. For a second, she wonders if Arisu did all this to get a kiss, but when she sees him all focused, she admits that Arisu had no ulterior motives and just wanted to help her. So she puts on a lip gloss and waits for Arisu to ask her for the kiss, but he plainly tells her that they just need to rest until the audition. While Nene throws a fit at his lack of enthusiasm for the kissing scene, Arisu tells her that she should save her first kiss for someone she truly loves. Upon hearing this, she admits that she had fun with him and leaves. The next day, Nene bluntly tells Arisu that she got rejected since the author of the manga picked her favorite voice actor. This bums out Arisu, who throws the manga on his face. Seeing him in this state, Nene recalls how the princess kissed the knight's helmet, so she decides to do the same by kissing him through the manga. As she turns to leave, Arisu grabs her hand and tells Nene that he could tell she just kissed him. He further pushes her by asking if she's in love with him, which earns him a good beating. With that, Nene yells at Arisu that she hates him and turns to leave. Seeing her leave, the girls enter the room and console Arisu by saying that Nene was lying when she said she hates him, as her ears always turn red when she's lying. A couple of days later, Arisu enters the broadcasting room and witnesses a melon buffet right in front of him. However, instead of being happy like any decent gooner, he screams at the girls. Once the girls are all dressed, Arisu scolds them for carelessly changing their clothes without locking the door. He explains that in this day and age, they need to be careful with such things since anyone can take photos of them and use it to blackmail them later on. But despite knowing that Arisu is right, the girls get irritated as Nene demands him to apologize for creeping up on them. Arisu, being a total softie, quickly apologizes, admitting that he used 10 years of his luck to see multiple plots at once. After school, Rika invites Arisu to hang out with them, but he apologizes and tells the girls that he has something important to do. Once Arisu dips, Nene announces that they need to tail Arisu so they can see his ding-dong. Rika is surprised and tells Nene if she's ovulating, she can go on the hub, but Nene screams and counters that she's doing this to get revenge on Arisu for seeing her in her birthday avatar. Iko admits that it sounds fun while Rika confesses that she is more interested in uncovering Arisus's daily life. So without wasting more time, the girls hop on the same bus as Arisu, and Nene quickly gets to work by trying to catch a photo of Arisu reading a Playboy in public. However, when she zooms the camera, she realizes that he is reading a book called Learn Japanese for Dummies. Rika giggles at this, since everyone knows Arisu is reading that book for Nene. A few minutes later, the bus stops and Arisu heads inside a cafe. The girls follow behind and are shocked to see him working in the cafe. Before Arisu can catch them, they quickly take cover and discuss why a rich brat like him is working in the cafe. Just when they think Arisu is a scammer, his boss comes and apologizes for making him take on more shifts. However, Arisu assures him it's cool, revealing that he needs extra cash anyway. His boss, who is also aware he's a Nepo baby, asks him why he needs to work when he's loaded. Arisu then states that his father is rich while he's an ordinary student who tries to earn his own money. He also adds that he needs to make 1 million yen, which makes his boss curious, who then asks what he's gonna do with that amount. Meanwhile, the girls recall Arisu telling them how he has made 1 million in the stock market and wonder if he was just capping to make it inside the baddie club. However, Arisu tells his boss that the money is for his club as he wants to fund 4 talented girls who are desperately trying to change their sloppy habits to achieve their dreams. At that moment, it becomes clear to the girls that Arisu believes in them and is serious about helping them, so they decide to trust him too. They then show themselves to Arisu, who is shocked to see them, while Nene quickly takes a photo of him in an apron to blackmail him later. The next day, Arisu is worried that Apollo has more blackmail material on him and can easily get him expelled since the school doesn't allow part-time jobs. Just then, Iko walks in and locks the door. Seeing this, Arisu warns her that he's not going to submit to her if she's here to blackmail him. However, Iko starts unzipping her jacket and tells him that since she got to see his embarrassing side, it's only fair that he knows her embarrassing secret. At first, Arisu thinks Iko is trying to show her embarrassingly small cherries, but she reveals her tablet and tells him that she's getting negative comments on her stream. Her loyal fans now think her content is sloppy and boring, despite her doing multiple activities on the stream. In response, Arisu tells Iko he already knows why her streams are failing since he watches her all the time. Pulling up his phone, he then plays different clips of her from different streams, revealing that her avatar is expressionless. The viewers can't tell when she's happy or sad, which is why they're all bored. Arisu then tells Iko that she can easily solve this problem by changing her avatar's costumes or facial expressions to match what she's really feeling. However, she tells Arisu that she's bad at computer stuff, so she doesn't know how to do that. But as always, Arisu saves the day by telling her to leave that to him. After a few days of hard work, he presents Iko 2.0, which can match Iko's facial expressions. However, during the tryouts, Arisu realizes the true problem lies in Iko, as she's unable to show her emotions through her voice. When he points that out to her, Iko blankly states that she sucks at expressing herself, but that's not a good enough reason for Arisu. So he locks the door and starts tickling her, until they both fall on the floor. Seeing her genuinely smiling, Arisu tells Iko that this is exactly what her fans want to see. Suddenly, they hear Nene demanding an explanation on why they're in the baby-making position since she had been watching them with a selfie stick. As Arisu opens the door, Nene quickly ties him up, stating that she's taking her to the Diddy jail for being a creep, when Iko thanks him for helping her. Seeing this, the girls realize that whatever Arisu was doing was for Iko's sake. However, the next day when Iko starts streaming, Arisu immediately realizes that his efforts were wasted since she's back to her usual self. In that moment, he comes to understand that Iko struggles to show emotions in front of others. Meanwhile, Iko increasingly becomes nervous as she watches her viewers disappear on her. Seeing this, Arisu holds a board, asking her if she needs help. Once Iko says yes, Arisu intervenes by pausing her stream, but that freaks her out as she tells Arisu that it's unethical to pause an ongoing stream. However, Arisu doesn't care and scolds Iko for being mediocre and even urges her to quit altogether, which makes her very emotional. As she starts yelling that she loves to stream despite sucking at it, the door opens and the girls rush in, revealing that her stream wasn't paused and everyone heard everything she just said. Iko suddenly becomes dizzy as she thinks that she must be cancelled by now, but when she sees her tablet, she realizes that her viewers have gone up in thousands and everyone is leaving positive comments. On that note, Arisu tells Iko that a VTuber's popularity lies in their personality and then urges her to end the stream on a good note. Later on, Arisu rewards himself by taking a huge dump when he gets a link to Iko's private stream. As he clicks on it, Iko thanks him for helping her and gives him a bright smile. However, Arisu tells her real smile is better than the avatar's smile, which makes her blush. As she covers her face in embarrassment, Iko realizes that every time Arisu looks at her, she feels butterflies. A couple of weeks later, Shinobu is taking care of student council activities since the sports week is about to begin. Just then, the members tell her that her ugly face is plastered all over the document highlighting the activities for the event, which embarrasses Shinobu, who quickly realizes that she messed up again. Later on, she finds herself surrounded by other students who need her help for different things. Shinobu assures everyone that she will take care of everyone's problem with a smile, but when she's alone, she sighs, realizing that she's going to be swamped with work until midnight. After arriving at the broadcasting club, Shinobu briefs everyone that they're in charge of all the broadcasting activities, so they need to be on their A game. Upon hearing this, Rika tells Shinobu they need to come up with a script for commentary, and Shinobu assures her that it will be taken care of by her. Unfortunately, her problems don't end there, as the girls continue to complain about different things that they can't do. Suddenly, Arisu announces that the broadcasting club should have its own separate event during the sports week. By the end of the meeting, Shinobu ends up telling everyone that she'll take care of everything, including the personal activities the broadcasting club should do during the sports week. Feeling relieved, the other girls then suggest going to karaoke, but Shinobu excuses herself, saying that she has a lot of work to do. While the rest of them leave, Arisu stays behind and notices Shinobu's exhausted face. He quickly tells her to follow him and then locks her against the wall, asking her if she'll keep this a secret from the others. Shinobu's heart starts to race as she thinks Arisu is about to give her that fire PP to relieve her tension, but then he hands her a candy. Noticing her surprise, Arisu reveals that she doesn't sound like her usual self, so the candy will soothe her throat. Touched by Arisu's care, Shinobu thanks him when he tells her that he picks up on little things since he's always watching her. The moment Shinobu hears this, her water sprinkler goes off as she tells Arisu that she's going to put more effort into how she looks since he's always looking at her. However, since Arisu is on the spectrum, he doesn't pick up on the hint and just tells Shinobu that she appears overwhelmed. In response, she admits that she wants to shoulder everyone's burden so she can be seen as someone credible. Understanding Shinobu, Arisu tells her that while it's good to work on her public image, she should learn to rely on others and have fun once in a while. With that said, Arisu turns to leave when Shinobu grabs his hand and asks him to have fun with her. A few seconds later, they arrive in an empty library where Shinobu tells Arisu to close his eyes and open his mouth. At first, he agrees, but when the smell of tuna starts hitting his nose, he thinks Shinobu is about to do something funny with him and opens his eyes. To Arisu's shock, he sees Shinobu holding a chocolate as she reveals that she likes to relieve her stress by eating chocolates. Arisu then notices the pile of sweets and tells Shinobu that she'll look like Avatar, the last chair bender, if she doesn't stop consuming so many calories. On that note, he asks Shinobu why she doesn't let the girls from the club help her out. That's when Shinobu confesses that she wants to help her girls as much as possible because she's going to leave the broadcasting club soon. Arisu chokes on air as he hears that and asks Shinobu if she's dying of cancer, but she assures him that she's fine, and just wants to focus on studies since all the big announcers come from good universities. However, Arisu refuses to accept this and yells at Shinobu, causing her to fall in shock. He then goes on a rant about how she sounds like a coward who can't enjoy her life and then tells her that he's going to help her achieve all her goals, so she doesn't need to quit the club. As Arisu helps Shinobu get up, she thanks him and reveals that his words gave her the courage that she needed to trust herself. The next day, Shinobu nervously tells the girls that she has everything planned for the sports week, but she needs their help in bringing everything together. To her surprise, the girls quickly tell her that they're on board. So, on the day of the sports week, all the students are amazed by how organized the event looks. A few hours later, Arisu takes over the commentary duties since Rika and Iko are participating in the partner marathon. However, when the girls hear his ugly voice blasting through the speakers, they force him to run with them instead. And Arisu, being the competitive Chad that he is, grabs Rika and Iko in his arms so they can win the race, but to his dismay, he comes second. Later during the cavalry race, Arisu carries Shinobu on his shoulders since her teammates end up bailing on the last minute. As they face Nene's team, Shinobu feels shy about placing her giant on his shoulders while Arisu assures her that he's exactly where he wants to be. The race begins and ends quickly as Shinobu lets Nene's team get her headband way too easily. As Arisu cries over his defeat, Shinobu consoles him while Nene looks at them from afar and feels a little jealous of their closeness. Later that day, the broadcasting club assembles together to carry out their own event where they'll let students make anonymous public confessions through their broadcasting tools. As Shinobu presents the flyers for their event, everyone praises her for coming up with such a unique idea. Upon hearing the compliments, she admits that she has always wanted to plan and run her own event, and thanks to them, she is able to do that. Then out of nowhere, their club advisor and teacher, Lemon-chan, comes and tells them that they can't have such zesty events in Furin. Upon hearing this, the girls start to complain, begging Lemon-chan to reconsider her decision, but she firmly tells them that having relationships is against school's policy. That's when Arisu decides to step in, and introduces himself as the manager of the club. However, the moment he speaks, Lemon-chan tells him that he is fired from his position, claiming that she never wanted male members in the first place. While Arisu quietly takes his seat, Shinobu tells her that thanks to Arisu, the broadcasting club has gotten popular, and if she agrees to let them host this event, then their club will grow even more popular. When Lemon-chan asks what's in it for her, Shinobu tells her that she just might get that promotion, as everyone will think the broadcasting club became popular because of her, since she is the official advisor. After giving it a second thought, Lemon-chan agrees and asks them how they're going to launch the event. When they tell her about the flyers, she tells them to look outside. There in the courtyard, the strict gym teacher tells the girls and boys to sit separately so they don't get naughty with each other. As the girls wonder how they'll get past him, Lemon-chan reveals that she is going to use her juicy lemons to distract the gym teacher, so they can distribute the flyers. Once everyone is on board, Lemon walks up to the gym teacher and convinces him to take a break by using her fat jugs and mommy voice. With the gym teacher out of the way, the girls try their best to distribute the flyers without getting the teachers to notice them. Yet soon they realize being discreet isn't helping, so Nene comes up with a plan to catch everyone's attention without alerting the teachers. When she shares the plan, Rika tells her that she can't do something so embarrassing, but Nene refuses to take no for an answer and tells her to do this for Shinobu. A few moments later, they come out wearing maid outfits, which causes the whole school to flock around them, allowing them to share the news about the event. All of a sudden, Lemon-chan screams that she can't flirt with the ugly gym teacher anymore and tells them to wrap up the secret operation. By the time the musclehead notices the commotion, the girls successfully manage to escape. After catching their breath, Shinobu goes over the plan once more, explaining that the confessor will enter the dark classroom next door and use the cup telephone to deliver his confession, which she will then broadcast to the whole school. With everything settled, the girls leave to organize the participants, while Shinobu waits by the broadcasting microphone. Just then, she gets her first confession where someone tells her not to mess up her lines. When she rushes out to find the confessor, she finds her friends laughing and wishing her well for the event. Around lunchtime, Shinobu announces that the broadcasting club is ready for their confessions. The gym teacher hears this and is about to take action when Lemon-chan comes and uses her weapons of mass distraction on him. Shortly after, Shinobu broadcasts the first romantic confession of the day, which catches the attention of the teachers. However, they end up thinking it's cute, and hope Shinobu's event will save Japanese people from going extinct. In the meantime, Nene informs her friends that they've a lot of confessors already, which means Shinobu's event is a hit. Just then, Iko asks Rika and Nene if they also feel like confessing. Nene admits that she wants to apologize to someone but can't do it directly since she is too much of a chicken. Rika follows up, explaining that she was cold to someone for no reason and would like them to know that she's sorry. After hearing the two, Iko reveals that she wants to thank someone who helped her out a lot. Just as the event was starting to take off, a loud buzzing sound cuts through the speakers. Back in the broadcasting room, Shinobu starts panicking as the microphone dies on her. Recalling her mother's sharp taunts, Shinobu cries when the door opens and her friends enter. Iko tries to get the equipment working but is unable to understand the mechanics. While the girls urge Shinobu to pause the event, she tells them that they only have until lunchtime. In the end, Shinobu tells everyone that she's going to use her own voice to convey the confessions. Her friends warn her not to, as she'll end up damaging her vocal cords. Then out of nowhere, Arisu appears with a megaphone, stating that their Superman is here to save the day. Without thinking, Shinobu gives him a hug, saying that he always shows up at the perfect time. While Nene gets jealous, Arisu whispers in Shinobu's ear that they are partners in crime for life. Then using the megaphone, Shinobu starts relaying the confessions. In the meantime, Arisu gets ready to go home while Shinobu thanks everyone for participating in her event, and reveals that she will be wrapping up with one final confession. When Arisu hears Shinobu apologize for disappearing 3 years ago, he immediately realizes Apollo is behind the confession, but what shocks him is when she admits to being in love with him. As the students stare at him in shock, Arisu rushes to the broadcasting room and grabs Shinobu, demanding to know if she knows who confessed to him, but she nervously tells him that she doesn't know. Arisu soon realizes that Shinobu is shaking a leaf, so he apologizes and says that he doesn't care about the confession. He then tells her he's proud of her, which makes Shinobu cry as she suddenly hugs him and thanks him for being her partner in crime. Later on, Arisu receives a text from Apollo telling him to come to the broadcasting room. When he rushes there, he finds the cup telephone and places it against his ear as Apollo tells him she's done hiding and ready to show him her face. After the successful event, Lemon-chan holds a celebration at her place. As president, Rika gives a toast, and especially praises Shinobu for her marvelous idea. After this, the girls force Lemon-chan to pay for their meal as punishment for slacking on advisor work. Lemon-chan quickly gets back at them, by pointing out how they are dressed like OnlyFans models, because they want to cuff up Arisu. Naturally, the girls try to deny it, but Lemon-chan clocks their tea, and says they must have panicked when someone made that confession to Arisu. While they all struggle to lie, Rika admits that she wanted to dress to impress Arisu, but when they turn to look at him, they see him snoring louder than your dad. Lemon-chan then announces that they should have an all-girls party, now that Arisu is out cold. The girls agree, and leave with Lemon-chan to buy dinner. After a while, Iko returns to the apartment, and lies down beside Arisu, asking him why Shinobu hugged him earlier. While she asks the sleeping boy if he's dating Shinobu, Nene returns and sees them together in bed. Before she can kiss Arisu, Nene makes her presence known, causing Iko to quickly back off. As Nene takes a seat next to her, Iko asks if she saw something sushi. Nene lies and says she just got here, but internally wonders if she is purposely trying to block Iko from getting closer to Arisu. Just then, Iko asks her if she has kissed someone, and Nene starts recalling the kiss she had with Arisu. Despite being shy, she tells Iko she has, only for her to call her a hoe. Hearing this, Nene confronts her, asking if she likes Arisu, shocking Iko, who asks her why she asked. Nene then comes clean and admits that she saw her trying to diddle Arisu earlier. After getting caught, Iko has a valid crash out. Once she is done, she confesses she feels something for Arisu, but doesn't know what it is exactly. Hearing this, Nene also reveals that she has always hated men, but being with Arisu makes her feel good. Just then, they hear Shinobu's voice and in panic mode, they end up hiding underneath the bed. In the meantime, Shinobu enters the apartment and finds Arisu fast asleep. She then sits next to him, and says she wants to apologize to him for 2 things. As she apologizes for the sudden hug, and is about to apologize for the second thing, when she hears Rika's voice and in panic, she runs to hide under the bed, only to find Nene and Iko. A look of understanding passes among them, while Rika takes her place next to Arisu. Just when she is about to confess something, Iko lets out a sneeze, and they all end up getting caught. A few minutes later, Arisu wakes up from his nap and finds the girls sitting like ghosts. Startled by this, he asks if they are fighting. The girls then reveal that their plan was to individually get something to eat, but they all ended up buying cakes. Flabbergasted by 4 huge cakes, Arisu asks what was their thought process, and they all reveal they wanted to get something sweet for him, since he had been working tirelessly for them. After hearing this, Arisu quietly starts eating the cake, revealing he suddenly has a craving for sugar. As he gets down to eating cake, the girls look at him with concern. Just then, Lemon-chan walks in, revealing she brought cake for them. Arisu looks at her with horror, and after eating 4 cakes, the girls look at him in amazement. Nene is quick to tell him that he looks like Nikocado Avocado, but Lemon-chan is so turned on by this, that she tells Arisu to eat her cake next. Arisu quickly taps out, and instead tells the party crowd they should play some games now. Once everyone agrees to the plan, Lemon-chan brings out Jenga, and states the loser will have to eat her cake. While she oversees the game, Arisu and the girls start playing the game. Nene has the most problem, since all her brain cells went to her juicy jugs. When it's Arisu's turn, he increases the difficulty by removing 2 blocks, and while the girls are struggling to make their move, he observes them all, knowing one of them is Apollo. Turns out, when Apollo offered to reveal herself, Arisu turned her down, stating that he wants to uncover her identity on his own now. He further reveals that he wants to make all 4 of them pros now, which startles Apollo, who quickly tells Arisu his dream is far-fetched. However, Arisu isn't the one to quit, so he tells Apollo he will surely fulfill his promise. When Apollo asks him what his end goal is, Arisu admits that he wants to become a producer who releases songs, animes, broadcasting programs, which is why he's helping the girls, who will later help him. Somehow, Apollo is pleased by his response, and tells him to close his eyes. When Arisu does as told, she walks out from the door. By the time Arisu opens his eyes, he is shocked by how daring Apollo has gotten. While he's thinking about all this, Nene tells him to focus on the game. Arisu then diverts his focus on the blocks, and is shocked to see the complex structure. The girls start laughing at his shocked face, revealing that they teamed up to defeat him. Arisu then gets serious, and after much calculations, he removes a block, only for the structure to crumble in front of him. After losing the round, Arisu walks the girls home, who then thank him for all his efforts. Arisu assures them they were equally responsible for making the event a hit. Hearing this, Shinobu expresses that she is glad she went through with her plan, and thanks them all for helping her achieve her goal. A few days later, Rika holds another one of her mini concerts after school, and Arisu observes that her fans have increased since the sports week. Despite this, he still feels she is not ready to hold a street performance. Just then, Arisu notices a girl staring daggers at Rika from the crowd. At the same time, Rika notices her from the stage, and stops her concert abruptly. Seeing this, Arisu tries to ask who she is, but she walks away, and he decides to follow her. When he greets her, the girl ignores him, like your crush ignores you. However, Arisu continues to follow her, until the girl gets creeped out, and apologizes for ignoring him. Arisu sighs in relief, and says that since she ignored him so much, he thought he was dead. In response, the girl tells Arisu that she was ignoring him because he seemed annoying. After brushing off the comment, Arisu asks her why she looked so upset during Rika's concert, but instead of answering him, the girl asks what he thinks of Rika's concerts. So Arisu tells her that Rika is a good singer who can sing a lot of popular songs which keeps the crowd entertained. At this, the girl says that it's the popular songs that people like, instead of Rika. When she accidentally blurts out that Rika used to be different back then, Arisu realizes that the girl used to know her before. A few hours later, Rika works on her songs in a karaoke bar, but fails to come up with anything decent. Just as she slumps down in frustration, and thinks about telling Arisu that she can't be a singer anymore, he walks in. Shocked but happy, Rika asks Arisu how did he know where to find her, and he reveals that her friend told him. Rika immediately knows it's Aiko, so she asks Arisu if she said something to him. However, Arisu tells Rika that she must have a vague idea what Aiko would have said, since she saw her looking salty in the crowd. Smiling sadly, Rika then reveals that Aiko doesn't like it when she makes covers of popular songs. Instead, she preferred the songs that she wrote herself. Upon hearing this, Arisu urges Rika to perform her own songs, but she immediately shuts him down, saying it's embarrassing. At which Arisu reminds her it's his duty to turn her into a pro. Rika then proposes a challenge, stating that if he defeats her in a karaoke battle, she will perform her own songs. At first, Arisu is unsure about it, since Rika is an aspiring singer, while he's just a bathroom singer. So he tells Rika that he has a condition as well, that she must dance and sing at the same time. Rika accepts the challenge, but when she tries to dance and sing, she gets nervous and messes everything up. That's when Arisu reveals that he predicted this outcome, since she's always too self-conscious of herself. After being called out, Rika restarts the song, and this time puts on a fierce concert for Arisu, shocking him. By the end, the scoreboard shows that Rika has gotten 95 points, upsetting Arisu, who now has to level up his game. While he performs a song from a band called Hug Notes, Rika is surprised by his song selection. After his performance, the scoreboard reveals that Arisu achieved 75 points, which makes him crash out. However, Rika immediately asks him why he chose a song from Hug Notes, causing Arisu to remember the brief conversation he had with Aiko, where she revealed Rika loved that band. At the same time, he recalled Apollo once telling him that she discovered this niche band called Hug Notes. So in the present, Arisu reveals that he loves that band. At this, Rika tells Arisu that since he chose a better song than she did, she'll tell him why she hates singing her original songs. After which, she reveals that she hates being judged for her original work, so she hides behind other people's music to avoid criticism. Hearing this, Arisu realizes that if they don't solve Rika's trauma fast, she will never have a career. So he tells her that she used to be like her, but he pushed himself to experience more public speaking events to get rid of his fear of being judged. Just when Rika is processing his words, Arisu tells her she should perform a concert using her old original songs, because only experience can break her fear. After a little reluctance, Rika agrees and Arisu tells her the concert will be held a week later. When the day finally arrives, Rika wonders why Arisu set the venue to the rooftop, instead of her usual spot. Just when she thinks Arisu doesn't understand her, and opens the rooftop door, she finds her friends from the broadcasting club. Surprised by this, Rika then asks Arisu where are the other students, and he reveals that he'd never throw her to the wolves. After which he explains that the only way to build confidence is by performing in front of friends and family that love her. While Rika is speechless at Arisu's thoughtfulness, Nene, Iko and Shinobu cheer her on, stating that they'll never judge her. However, when Rika tries to sing, she becomes nervous, making Arisu realize that her trauma is deep-rooted. Just then, the girls pull out customized slogans for Rika, causing her to realize that no one here will judge her. Once Rika begins singing, she recalls the past when she confidently told the girls that she is going to be such a popular singer, that Diddy would want to invite her to his after-party. After the concert, Rika tells Arisu that he totally fooled her, and as punishment, he has to help her practice her original songs until she is confident about them. This makes Arisu recall her earlier performance, and he realizes that the girls can only succeed if they have each other's support. So to strengthen their friendship further, Arisu invites them for a group hangout at the mall. However, instead of spending time with each other, they all go their separate ways to shop alone. Just then, Shinobu asks Arisu to help her pick an outfit. When she models in front of him in different clothes, and reveals she loves wearing white, Arisu remembers Apollo saying something similar. After leaving the clothing store, Arisu thinks to himself that he keeps seeing glimpses of Apollo in all the girls. Just then, Iko drags him to play a crane game. After he wins a plushie for Iko, she immediately snuggles with the toy, explaining that she loves putting her scent on her plushies. Again, Arisu remembers Apollo telling the same thing to him. After this, Nene offers him some takoyaki with mayonnaise, and Arisu recalls the time when Apollo told him her favorite dish is takoyaki with mayonnaise. Later that day, they all head to the karaoke bar, where Rika performs a song from Hug Notes, making Arisu's eyes widen in shock. He remembers the moment when Apollo sang that exact song to him. Just when he's about to make up his mind that Rika is Apollo, he hears Iko, Shinobu and Nene singing the same song. Shocked, he asks the girls if they know about Hug Notes, and they reveal that they all love that band. The next day at the club, Arisu greets everyone with high spirits, and everyone replies to him except for Nene. Confused, Arisu asks what's bothering her, but Nene ignores him, so he decides to move on. This upsets Nene even more, so she screams at Arisu to ask her why she is not talking to him. When Arisu does as told, Nene angrily tells him that she isn't going to tell him now, and leaves Arisu frustrated. As Nene heads out, Arisu asks the girls if she's on her red days, and Shinobu then reveals that Nene recently joined the theater club, but isn't doing too well in it. Arisu is surprised by this, and tells Shinobu that he always thought Nene was social and outgoing, but she reveals that Nene only gets along with those that love her. At that moment, Arisu recalls Nene saying that she hates everyone who hates her, and sighs, but then the girls ask him to help Nene out. Arisu asks how, since Nene doesn't even want to talk to him, but the girls tell him to use his goldfish brain. Meanwhile, in the theater club, a girl named Oizumi gives a better performance than Sydney Sweeney's entire career, and the girls watching her discuss how her dream is to become a famous model and marry Leonardo DiCaprio for his money. Just then, Nene says her lines, and Oizumi dramatically throws herself against the wall because of how bad she is at acting. Getting back up, Oizumi then tells Nene that her acting gave everyone cancer, and Nene weakly apologizes to her, insisting that she's trying her best. While Oizumi tells Nene that she thinks too much before acting, Arisu watches the whole scene from the door, and wonders why Nene isn't being her usual bratty self. After getting insulted by Oizumi, Nene returns to the broadcasting club, but the girls quickly leave to hide, knowing that Nene is a walking landmine right now. Soon enough, Nene angrily curses Oizumi for trying to school her until Arisu enters the room, which shocks the girls since they could never face an angry Nene. Meanwhile, Arisu tells her that he saw everything at the theater club, and Nene asks him if he's here to cheer her up. However, Arisu asks her what shampoo she uses, which pisses off Nene and she throws him against the wall. Instead of caring about himself, Arisu praises her for facing her emotions impulsively. Nene grows more upset, and throws her bag on Arisu's ugly face, only for him to give her a thumbs up for showing raw emotions. Hearing this, Nene bursts into tears, revealing that she did her best but Oizumi kept berating her again and again. Once Nene is much calmer, Arisu tells her that in order to get better at acting, she must become one with the character. However, she won't be able to do that, as she has never experienced those feelings. Nene sits quietly while Arisu tells her that she must get cheated on if she wants to correctly show the role of a woman whose loving boyfriend cheated on her and is now asking for forgiveness. On that note, Arisu energetically apologizes for cheating on her, but Nene counters that they aren't even dating. He then reveals she has to get experience somehow, so they will pretend to date and then he'll cheat on her with Iko. On cue, Iko pops up, shocking Nene, who asks her why she would play the role of a homewrecker, and she casually reveals that she's in love with Arisu. While Nene freaks out, Arisu reveals that only Iko had the time to act with them, but then Nene tells them that she finds all this pointless. Arisu then asks her if she is okay with Oizumi telling her that she sucks, but Nene angrily yells that she wants to get so good at acting, that Oizumi will lick her boots forever insulting her. Liking Nene's response, Arisu tells her they should go out to practice, but she apologizes for being so hard to deal with. However, Arisu assures Nene that he doesn't mind since he finds it all very cute, leaving her stunned. Later on, Arisu gets in his character, and apologizes to Nene for cheating on her with Iko. As Nene tries to respond to him according to her role, Arisu wonders if she wants to use the toilet. Feeling annoyed, Nene tells Arisu that she just can't picture him going out with Iko, and that's why she can't act properly. Arisu sighs and then tells Nene they should take a break for now, since he and Iko have club activities. As Nene watches them go, she recalls the moment when Iko was hugging Arisu and realizes that it's not impossible for them to date. Just when she's on her way to home, she catches Iko and Arisu getting all lovey-dovey, talking about how fun it is to keep their relationship hidden from everyone. As Nene freezes in horror, Rika and Shinobu watch the scene from afar, recalling how this was all their idea to get Nene out of her zone. With Nene still frozen, Arisu and Iko wonder what they should do next to make their relationship more convincing, when Iko recalls Nene telling her that she recently kissed someone. Using this moment, Iko truthfully tells Arisu that she wants to kiss him, but he assumes that she's just doing it for the role. Iko then confesses that she likes him, and as their lips are about to touch, Nene pulls them apart in panic. She yells at them for kissing in public, when Rika and Shinobu arrive, revealing that it was just acting. Arisu then asks Nene if any of this helped her, but she angrily leaves, causing Rika and Shinobu to go after her. In the meantime, Arisu tells Iko that her suggestion of kissing was good, and she plays along, despite having real feelings for him. The next day, at the theater club, Oizumi gets in the role of the cheater and begs Nene to forgive him. Hearing this, Nene recalls Arisu and Iko just about to kiss, and darkly tells Oizumi that she won't forgive him. A girl then tells her that she said her lines wrong, but Oizumi praises Nene for showing her true emotions. Later that day, Nene thanks Arisu for helping her out, but then asks him if he was really going to kiss Iko. Arisu lets out a sigh, and explains that it was just acting, causing Nene to admit that if it was her, she would have kissed him. Before Arisu can ask what she means, Nene runs off, and when he catches up to her, Nene reveals that she was just acting. Several days later, Iko ends one of her live streams, and is excited to see that she has reached 32.2k subscribers on Twitch. Just then, Iko hears a couple of gooners discussing a VTuber hitting 3 million sub, which shocks Iko, and after doing the maths, she realizes it will take her a century to reach that number. After coming to the conclusion that she won't be able to fulfill her dream like her talented friends, Iko punches Arisu in the belly, blaming him for everything before running towards the broadcasting club. Once inside, Iko wonders what she can do to get 3 million subs like her idol, Ao-chan. As she opens her streams, she quickly finds Ao-chan doing different things like cooking, piano and studying, which only frustrates her further. Meanwhile, in his class, Arisu receives a notification from Iko's stream and finds her trying to bake a cake, but soon enough, she starts panicking and ends the live stream. While Arisu is left wondering what just happened, Iko gets further depressed, thinking that she can't beat Ao-chan as she can't even bake a 4-tier cake on her first try. The next day, Iko attempts to play an instrument on her stream. After that, she announces she's going to get perfect scores on her yelts. Then the next day, she promises her fans to sing until her throat dries out, and when Friday comes, Arisu finally asks Iko why her streams have been a clown show lately. Iko yells at Arisu, saying that she's trying to beat Ao-chan and runs away, believing that Arisu would have shamed her for trying to compete with Japan's top streamer. Just then, she receives a notification of Ao-chan's stream, stating that she's going to do a hot outfit reveal. This gives Iko an idea, and so several days later, she does a stream with her avatar wearing a bikini. While Iko's friends are shocked to see her shaking those hooters for the plot, Arisu quickly finds her and snatches the streaming tablet. Trying to get the device back, Iko almost falls off, when Arisu pulls her close, and says that she doesn't need to be a Twitch thought to make it big. Upon realizing her mistake, Iko tells Arisu to help her out, so he agrees. As they sit down to have a strategy meeting, Iko asks Arisu what she can do to beat Ao-chan, who is perfect in everything, so Arisu tells Iko that her strongest asset is that angelic voice of hers, which alone can make her a top VTuber. Flustered by all the praise, Iko tells Arisu to calm it down, but he tells her that he's only stating facts. However, he adds that voice alone won't make her famous, as she needs more exposure. Iko listens to Arisu intently as he tells her to collaborate with a famous VTuber called Complier, who is looking for small VTubers for a social media event. Iko inquires more about the event, and Arisu tells her that it's related to a game, which means they need to practice it on stream until they get picked by Complier. At school, the next day, Iko streams the zombie game, while Arisu watches her like a proud dad, until a zombie boss shows up, and Iko starts panicking. Throwing the control at Arisu's face, Iko yells that she hates horror games. After the stream, Arisu apologetically tells Iko that he shouldn't have pushed, but Iko tells him that she feels bad for ruining his efforts. Just then, Arisu receives a notification on his phone, and tells Iko that sometimes flaws can turn into one's biggest asset. When Iko asks what he means, Arisu reveals that her freak-out reactions are now trending on Twitter, which means they still have a shot of getting noticed by Complier. Now feeling excited, Iko checks the video and is horrified by the title claiming she wet herself. While she's sobbing over it, her phone buzzes, so Arisu tells her to check it since it could be an invite from Complier. To their surprise, it turns out to be a collab request from Ao-chan. After reading the terms, Arisu tells Iko that she will have to compete with other VTubers in a game called Meow Drive, and only after clearing the preliminary round will she get to interact with Ao-chan. Iko then tells Arisu that she will do her absolute best, and after a week of training, she participates in round 1 of the tournament. To her horror, Ao-chan puts her in a group with the black sheep of the VTuber community, as she now has the label of the streamer who pissed herself. Arisu watches in horror, as the other troublemakers bully Iko for being a pisser, and just hopes that Iko comes out on top after this round. Only moments later, Iko apologizes to Arisu for losing the game, while he tries to understand how someone as great as him lost. He then apologizes to Iko for not researching the game more, but she tells him that she is happy they participated in such a cool tournament, as it made her realize that together they can achieve many things. Pleased to hear this, Arisu apologizes for just being focused on the end result, but then angrily yells that he won't forgive those buffoons for bullying her. As Iko gets butterflies in her tummy, she suddenly receives a call from Ao-chan, making her nervous all over again. Gathering her courage, Iko picks up the call, and right away, Ao-chan apologizes to her for putting her in a troublesome group. Iko assures her that she didn't mind, so Ao-chan tells her that she will invite her for a collab again, and asks her to bring her manager. As Iko and Arisu wonder how she found out, Ao-chan reveals that she could tell her growing popularity is because of a brainiac. After telling Iko that she'd like to talk to her advisor directly, Ao-chan ends the call, making Arisu realize that the top VTuber of Japan is more than just good looks. Out of nowhere, Iko kisses him on the cheek, and hides her face with her tablet, stating that it's a thank you for being angry on her behalf. Several days later, Nene, Rika and Shinobu watch Iko's live stream and discuss how awesome it is that she got an invite from such a big VTuber like Ao-chan. When Rika reveals it was Arisu who helped Iko, Nene comments that he is always poking his Pinocchio nose in their business, revealing that he sent her 10 pamphlets for voice acting schools. Later during lunch, everyone waits for the broadcasting club to do their usual lunch segment, so moments later, the girls reveal they got new equipment, which makes their simps very happy because now they can clearly hear them. While the girls talk about romance and boys, some of the simps ask Arisu if he is going to join them, so he tells them that he's not their lackey, which means that he doesn't need to be with them 24/7. However, the simps tell Arisu that he is lucky as anyone would walk through Legos just to be Shinobu's personal lackey for one day. Back at the broadcasting club, the girls read aloud a question from someone named Itachi, who asks them if she should approach her crush since they are always making eye contact. This makes Shinobu recall her own moments of eye contact with Arisu, and she finds her heart racing a little. Moving on to the next matter, another girl asks them what she should order at a dinner date, which makes Iko imagine herself on a date with Arisu where they eat okonomiyaki. The girls then read another question where someone asks them what she should do when she's alone with her crush, so simultaneously Rika says she should go for a hug while Nene claims that a kiss would do the job just right. This causes the girls to argue, as Rika shames Nene for being too forward. However, Nene counters that she meant a kiss on the cheek and claims that hugging is way more provocative, so Rika fires back that that's how things are done in the West. As Iko sees them arguing, she tells Shinobu to switch off the microphone as she doesn't want to air out the cat fight. After following Iko's advice, Shinobu tries to defuse the fight by telling Nene and Rika they don't have to fight over these things since they are giving advice over scenarios they haven't experienced themselves. However, when they claim they have experienced these things before, Shinobu nervously backs down, while Nene and Rika continue to argue, until Arisu arrives. Since they were both thinking about him, Rika quickly asks him if he prefers a kiss or a hug, assuring him that no one will hear this conversation since they have turned off the mic. That's when Arisu reveals that the mic is still on, and the entire school body has heard them flaunt their romantic experiences. Shinobu casually apologizes, claiming that she must have hit the wrong button, while Nene is horrified since she no longer looks like a pure virgin girl. The next day Lemon-chan enters and tells the girls that because of their crappy love suggestions, she has suffered greatly. She then reveals how the ugly gym teacher had been making eye contact with her a lot, then randomly asked her out on a dinner date where he ordered okonomiyaki, and after that, he tried to hug and kiss her at the same time. After hearing Lemon-chan's story, the girls are left horrified as they never imagined their gym teacher would seek their advice on romance. In the end, Iko is forced to tell everyone that Nene and Rika were just joking around. Once that's out of the way, Lemon-chan leaves them with a warning, telling them not to openly discuss romance during their broadcasts. In the meantime, Arisu realizes they are all still a mess before telling Iko to come with him so they can prepare for her next stream. Nene then realizes that Arisu has been using Iko's first name, so she enviously asks him when they got so close. When Arisu casually admits it's because they have been hanging out a lot, Nene gets more jealous and tells him to use her first name as well. Arisu feels a little confused, so he asks Nene why she's suddenly saying all this, so she lies and says it's easier if he uses her first name. Rika doesn't want to miss out on Arisu's sausage, so she urges him to call her by her first name as well. At this, Arisu asks Shinobu if she wants him to use her first name, but she passes up on the offer, claiming it's too embarrassing for her. Later that day, Shinobu and Arisu have their usual study session at a nearby cafe, and when Shinobu tries to have one of his fries, Arisu tells her that she'll get oil on her notebook and tries to feed her. However, Shinobu gets embarrassed and ends up telling Arisu she doesn't like French fries, which prompts him to say that Rika loves having these fries. This gets her a little jealous, so she forces herself to be bold and tells Arisu to feed her. After wrapping up their study session, the two head out, but since it's pouring outside, Shinobu agrees to share her umbrella with Arisu. As they walk together in the rain, Shinobu brings up Iko, and praises Arisu for her recent growth. Arisu feels like a proud dad, and reveals that in that start Iko couldn't even emote properly, but now she is down to try different things. Shinobu smiles at this and asks him about Nene, so Arisu tells her that he has seen improvements in Nene as well since he caught her practicing alone a lot of the time. Shinobu then adds that Rika has been doing well too, and Arisu says that it's all because of them that she has decided to perform her own songs. Shinobu begins to feel sorry for herself, believing that everyone except her is moving forward. When she stops walking, Arisu notices and asks if something is wrong. Although she wants to confess that she no longer cares about chasing her dreams and is happy just being with him, she holds back and instead asks Arisu to call her by her first name once she gets closer to achieving her dreams. A few days later, the broadcasting club visits a greenhouse for some plant shopping. As always, Nene complains about everything, while Shinobu asks Arisu if he knows about the plant in front of them. When he extensively tells them about the plant, the girls are shocked while Nene is annoyed by how much Arisu knows about everything. On their way back home, Rika thinks about how much she loves performing her own songs, yet she has been unable to write something new. Around the same time, Arisu wonders what he can do to push Rika out of her comfort zone so she can create new songs. Suddenly, they all hear the sound of guitar playing in the distance, and Rika tells them to go home without her, before running away. Moments later, she arrives at another block where she sees Iko playing her guitar, despite having no audience. Suddenly, a fat Discord mod tells Iko that she should stop because no one is listening to her, and Rika worries that it will traumatize Iko, but Iko retaliates by telling the old fart to go away. Once Iko thinks she is all alone, she goes on to perform a song that she made with Rika. This upsets Rika as she thinks back to the time when she had dreams of making it big with Iko. A few days later, Arisu tries to hypnotize Iko but fails miserably. He tells the girls that he wanted to use hypnosis to remove Rika's trauma, but he is no Sigmund Freud. Suddenly, they hear clamor outside and find Rika holding one of her mini-concerts. Arisu watches with anticipation as Rika starts the concert with a new original song, shocking her fans. At first they wonder why Rika isn't singing the usual Taylor Swift covers, but soon they grow to like her new song. After the concert, Arisu asks Rika when she came up with such an incredible song, and she mutters under her breath how he hasn't been giving her enough attention. She then tells Arisu and her fans that she wrote this song for her best friend and an oversmart gooner. Arisu immediately knows Rika is talking about him and smiles to himself. A few days later in the broadcasting room, Arisu tells Rika and the girls that he has booked a venue for her street performance. Now all she needs to do is pop music out like she is Lana Del Rey. Ticked off by Arisu's rambling, Nene shoves a donut inside his mouth and tells him to let Rika focus on songwriting. Arisu apologizes lightly and asks Rika about her progress, and she admits that she is stuck on writing one final song for her album. To boost her morale, Arisu tells her that she is doing good, but Rika ignores his praise and shows them her album cover, which is a symbol of defiance. She tells everyone that she intends to spread her album all across Japan, and seeing her resilience, Shinobu gets the chills. When her friends tell her that they will be there to cheer her, Rika tells them that she'd like to do this show without them. Everyone looks at her with shock, so Rika explains that their presence brings her relief. However, she wants to push her limits and see if she has the capacity to stand in front of the crowd on her own. Her friends support her stance and then ask Rika how she found the balls to suddenly face her fears. Rika reveals that she kept trying to make songs that will sell. However, after realizing that she wasn't doing justice to her craft, she stopped and the melodies started coming back to her. After hearing her out, Arisu thinks to himself that he must do his best so that Rika can write her last best song. Instead of beating around the bush, Arisu asks Rika if there's something he can do for her, and she tells him to meet her at midnight. Hours later, they sit on the beach and Arisu asks her what they're doing here at midnight. Rika shares with him how she used to write songs at midnight on the beach, which surprises him a little. Arisu then asks Rika what she wants to do for her final song, and she admits that she wants to confess her love to someone. Arisu thinks that Rika is talking about Aiko, so he asks her to see the lyrics. Rika is shy and hesitant, but Arisu manages to convince her. After reading the lyrics, Arisu admits that her song doesn't sound like a confession at all, since she is being way too vague. He then pushes Rika to tell him why she likes this person so much, and Rika starts listing down the qualities of this mystery person, starting from how they have been there for her during midnights, always listened to her and waited for her a lot. This is why she wants to face her feelings and tell this person that she loves them. However, she is also fearful that her crush won't like it if she confesses through music. At which Arisu tells Rika that if it was him, he'd love to hear a love confession through a song, which suddenly fills Rika with relief. However, in the end, Rika tells Arisu that she is not going to include this special song in her album, as she wants to first sell 50 copies of her album before confessing her feelings. On the day of the street performance, Arisu brings Rika to a famous park where small bands are known to perform. He proudly declares how he distributed flyers and informed everyone so she can amass a good fan following. However, Rika starts panicking after looking at the unfamiliar faces of strangers. Just as she thinks about backing out, Arisu tells her that if she is nervous during the concert, she can look into his eyes. Appreciating his efforts, Rika laughs and thanks Arisu, before walking up to her makeshift stage. Rika starts her first song, but everyone ignores her and Arisu realizes it's because she sounds too anxious. Meanwhile, Rika becomes depressed, realizing that no one has stopped to listen to her. Just as she stood playing, Arisu tells her to look to her left and she finds her friends secretly watching her. Smiling softly, Rika thinks to herself that she should just follow her heart since she already has people who love and support her. For her next song, Rika sings with all her heart and eventually draws a huge crowd. Seeing this, Arisu smiles like a proud dad and praises himself for telling the other girls to come and watch Rika's performance. A few minutes into her second song, Rika realizes there are a lot of people listening to her now, which makes her feel more confident, and seeing this, Arisu feels proud until his eyes land on a girl with a guitar. Meanwhile, Rika finishes her song and gets a round of applause from everyone, while some even purchase her album. Rika feels happy that she got the courage to keep on going even in the face of fear, as she comes to realize that all she needed to do was sing for herself. Then suddenly, Rika hears the sound of drums from afar, while the same girl Arisu saw earlier announces that she is holding a surprise show since it's the anniversary of her band, Celestial. At this, everyone becomes excited since Celestial is like the big-time rush of Japan. As everyone ditches Rika for Hizumi and her band, Arisu wonders just why they're popular since Hizumi doesn't appear to be enthusiastic about performing. Moments later, she starts rocking her guitar, but Arisa covers his ears, despite thinking that Hazumi's voice is insanely good. Even Rika is amazed by how nonchalant and cool Hazumi sounds compared to her, but despite feeling like a loser, Rika picks up her guitar and performs her third song. When Arisu sees this, he is amazed by how composed Rika sounds from her first song and regrets wasting her efforts by picking a popular spot for her first concert. Rika, on the other hand, has a flashback of the moment when Aiko asked her to form a band with her. She was shocked since even then, she was insecure about her talent, but Aiko told her that listening to her was like love at first sight. Rika was so amazed by that she agreed, and together they composed a song called Hairy Nuts. Once it was completed, they sent it to a famous record label, and immediately got a reply back, but the producer only wanted to feature Rika. As Rika tried to reject the offer, Aiko pushed her to accept the deal despite her own personal feelings. However, after one failed street concert, Rika's confidence completely tanked and she chose comfort over pursuing her dreams. After remembering the past, Rika starts to tear up and forces herself to keep it together and finish the song, when she suddenly sees Arisu holding light sticks. Surprised by this, she asks him what he's doing, so he reminds her to look into his eyes when she feels down. Just as Rika starts feeling better, she sees Aiko and questions Arisu if he invited her, but Aiko shows her a flyer of the concert and reveals she came because of that. However, Rika feels guilty for letting down all those years and apologizes, but Aiko tells her that she has always sucked at talking, so it would be best if she conveyed her feelings through her songs. Accepting her request, Rika sings her final song, after revealing that she wrote it for her best friend. As the words flow out from Rika's mouth, Aiko suddenly imagines herself reliving her childhood with Rika next to her. After the song, Rika nervously asks Aiko what she thought of her song, and she bluntly tells her it wasn't good enough since there wasn't an encore. Rika then tells her that she just wrote 4 songs, but Aiko refuses to accept that as a reason and shouts in the microphone that Rika will be performing a song called In the Calm of the Night. This shocks Rika since it's the song they composed together, while Hazumi thinks that Rika and Aiko are picking a fight with Celestial. Turns out, she was right as Aiko challenges Hazumi to have a battle of the bands. Seeing this, Rika begs Arisu to stop Aiko, but instead he yells at Hazumi and Celestial to get their balls out of their purse and face them. Rika then lets out a sigh and tells Aiko that she has always been too bossy, but she ignores her and grabs a microphone. As they start singing the song together, Rika and Aiko remember all the moments they shared together before things turned bitter between them. A few hours later, Rika celebrates the success of her first concert with the Broadcasting Club. As they commend her for selling more than 20 copies of her album, Rika tells them that her goal was 50, but she is happy with her achievement nonetheless. Iko then tells Rika that she should have invited Aiko, and she reveals that she tried her best but Aiko was too shy, so she bailed on her. After assuring them that she'll have a private party with Aiko later, Rika reveals that she forgot her wallet in the park. Just when she turns to leave, the girls push Arisu to go with her and Iko tells Arisa not to diddle Rika in the park, which leaves him quite baffled. On the train, Arisa tells Rika that she put up a good show, and she reveals that she had fun performing until the very middle. She then admits that she felt bitter when the crowd left her side for Celestial, even when she promised to sing only for herself. After Rika is done venting out her frustration, Arisu tries to reassure her by saying that none of this would have happened had Celestial not performed in the park. This only frustrates Rika more, as she feels more inferior to Hazumi's talents. Meanwhile, in the park, Rika's old producer who abandoned her after she failed to gather an audience finds the poster for her album and tells someone on call that he's planning on scouting her. But what he doesn't is that Rika designed her album cover in opposition of his company. Back in the train, Rika gets teary-eyed only to find Arisu crying with her. He then reveals that none of this would have happened if he had chosen a better spot for her first concert since she gave her best. Smiling to herself, Rika suddenly hugs Arisu, which turns his sausage stiff as she sweetly tells him that he went above and beyond to help her out, so he shouldn't blame himself. Do you think Rika belongs with Arisu? Comment part 13 to find out what happens next.